The most expensive word in the English language isn't luxury. It isn't exclusive. It's free. Every time you see that word, on a button, a label, a pop-up, a sign in a shop window, something remarkable happens inside your brain. Your rational thinking short-circuits. Your guard drops. And you make decisions you'd never make otherwise. Companies have known this for well over a century. They've built billion-dollar empires on it. And most of us walk into the trap almost every single day without ever noticing. Welcome to Money, the channel where we pull back the curtain on the economic forces that quietly shape your everyday life. The incentives behind the headlines, the psychology behind the prices, and the hidden logic powering the world around you. If that sounds like your kind of thing, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We drop new episodes every week, and you genuinely don't want to miss them. Today we're going deep on that one little word. Not just why it feels so good, but why it almost always costs you something: your time, your attention, your data, your future spending, or your future dependency. The price is real. It's just invisible. And once you start seeing it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with a chocolate bar. In the early 2000s, a behavioral economist named Dan Ariely ran a deceptively simple experiment. He set up a table and offered people two choices: a Lindt chocolate truffle for 15 cents or a Hershey's Kiss for 1 cent. The truffle was obviously the better deal: richer, higher quality, and still remarkably cheap at that price. Most people recognized this. Most people chose the truffle. Then Ariely dropped both prices by exactly 1 cent. The truffle went to 14 cents. The Hershey's Kiss went to 0. Free. Rationally, absolutely nothing had changed. The gap in value between them was identical. But the results flipped entirely. The moment the Kiss became free, people abandoned the superior chocolate and swarmed the cheaper one. Not because it tasted better. Not because it was the smarter choice. Because the word free did something to their brains that no amount of rational calculation could override. Ariely called this the zero price effect. When the price of something hits zero, our brains don't just see it as cheap, we categorize it as something fundamentally different. And the reason comes down to loss aversion. When you pay for something, there's always a small, nagging possibility of regret. What if it wasn't worth it? What if you overpaid? Free eliminates that anxiety entirely. There's no downside. No risk. And our brains, wired by millions of years of evolution to avoid loss more urgently than they seek gain, find that completely irresistible. But here's the thing. The risk doesn't actually disappear. It just moves somewhere you aren't looking. To understand how this gets exploited at the grandest scale, we need to go back to 1870s China. John D. Rockefeller, already building what would become the most powerful oil company in American history, had a problem. Rural Chinese families used vegetable oil in their lamps. Kerosene, Rockefeller's product, burned brighter and cost less. But families didn't have kerosene lamps. And nobody was going to buy a new lamp just to try a product they'd never heard of. Rockefeller's solution was elegant and utterly ruthless. Standard Oil manufactured millions of cheap kerosene lamps and gave them away. Completely free. Families across China received a gift they hadn't asked for and couldn't say no to. But the moment that lamp sat in your home, you needed kerosene to use it. And Rockefeller was the man selling the kerosene. The lamp was free. The dependency was forever. This is arguably the oldest commercial trick in the book, and we now have a name for it: the razor and blade model. Because a few decades after Rockefeller's lamps, a traveling salesman named King Gillette invented the disposable safety razor and hit the exact same wall. Nobody wanted to pay the upfront cost for something new and unfamiliar. So Gillette began giving razors away, sometimes for nearly nothing, sometimes as promotional gifts through banks and brands. And then the blades started selling. Because once you had the razor, you needed fresh blades every single week. The product was free. The habit it created was the entire business. Gillette's model, give away the platform, sell the recurring thing it requires, became one of the most copied blueprints in business history. You see it today in printers and ink cartridges, coffee machines and pods, gaming consoles and downloadable content. Now scale that idea up to the internet age, and you get something much bigger and far more personal. Facebook launched in 2004 with a promise so simple it felt almost naive. A free social network for college students. No subscription fee. No payment required. Just connect with your friends. By the time it went public in 2012, it was worth $100 billion. Not because users were paying anything, but because advertisers were paying everything. Here is the business model in one sentence. You use the platform for free, and in exchange, the platform learns everything about you, your age, your location, your political beliefs, your relationship status, your anxieties, your aspirations, and sells that knowledge to companies who want to sell you things. When you're not paying for the product, you are the product. This is true for Facebook. It's true for Google, TikTok, Instagram, and Gmail. It's true for almost every free app sitting on your phone right now. The free service is not a gift. It's an exchange. You trade your attention and your data for access. And attention is extraordinarily valuable. Every major corporation on Earth is competing for it, which is exactly why these platforms are engineered, at a neurological level, to keep you scrolling as long as humanly possible. Your time is finite. That's the cost. But the psychology gets even more direct with free trials. Think about the last time you signed up for a free month of something, a streaming service, a music app, a software subscription. The trial is free, so you feel like you have nothing to lose. You explore it, you get comfortable, you start building small habits around it. And then the trial ends. Here's what the research consistently shows. Once people are using something regularly, losing access to it triggers the same psychological discomfort as losing something they already own. Canceling a subscription doesn't feel neutral. It feels like a sacrifice. So instead of canceling, millions of people every year simply don't. They pay for months, sometimes for years, for services they barely touch, because clicking cancel feels harder than paying a monthly fee they barely notice leaving their account. The free trial is not a courtesy. It is a foot in the door. And no company has turned that foot in the door into a business strategy more successfully than Amazon. Amazon Prime offers free shipping on eligible orders. It costs $139 a year. But what that free shipping actually does is remove the friction at checkout. Without a shipping cost staring at you, there's no little moment of hesitation where your brain asks, "Do I really need this?" You just buy. Prime members, across study after study, spend dramatically more per year than non-members, not because they're wealthier, but because the free shipping removed a psychological speed bump that was quietly keeping their spending in check. The free shipping is an investment. Amazon charges you for it upfront, then profits handsomely from the spending it unlocks. The same principle plays out at the grocery store, scaled down to something far more humble: the free sample. Costco built an entire shopping culture around this. You wander in, someone hands you a tiny paper cup of something you didn't come to buy, and suddenly you're standing in an aisle wondering whether you need a 48-pack of a product you'd never thought about before. It works. Research reliably shows free samples can boost product sales by double digits, sometimes dramatically more than that. Part of it is the zero price effect. Part of it is reciprocity. When someone gives you something, even a stranger behind a folding table, you feel a quiet social pressure to give something back. In a store, giving back means buying. So what do you do with all of this? You can't stop encountering the word free. It is everywhere by design. But you can train yourself to pause, just for a second, and ask a different question. Not does this cost money, but what does this actually cost me? Is it your time? Your attention? Your privacy and data? Are you accepting a dependency that will be expensive to feed later? Are you being primed to spend more on something else down the road? Are you surrendering information that will be used to sell to you more effectively for years to come? None of these costs are hidden because companies are being sneaky just for sport. They're hidden because the word free is the most effective switch ever found for turning off the part of your brain that would otherwise notice them. The moment you ask the question, you get that switch back. So here is what I want to leave you thinking about. What is the most expensive free thing you have ever accepted? The app you spend 3 hours a day on without paying a penny. The subscription you forgot to cancel that quietly renewed for 2 years. The free gift that came bundled with a purchase you never actually needed. We have all been there. It is not a character flaw. It is a feature of the human brain that very smart people have spent a very long time learning to exploit. If this episode shifted something in how you think about that word, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people. And drop a comment below. What is the sneakiest free-to-pay trap you've ever fallen into? I read every single one. And next time, we are going to look at another number that messes with your brain just as badly as 0 does. A number that makes things feel affordable even when they absolutely are not. Once you see it, you will notice it everywhere. That one is coming up soon.